Hello, everyone. Welcome to my bedroom, where the magic happens. So, today, I say that as if I always do Facebook Lives. I don't. But starting today, I am considering doing a 50-day in devotion Facebook Live series, 50 days of Facebook Lives. Not making the concrete promise, giving myself 24 hours as a emotional authority projector. Have to go through the full spectrum of emotions around it, but it's feeling really good and really edgy for me to do this, to do a 50-day commitment, like no ands, ifs, or buts, even if it's like 3 minutes of coming on and sharing something. So today is day one of this, if this ends up happening. And the place I'm wanting to start, so I do this thing on Instagram where I read inspirational quotes and I break them down because a lot of them really frustrate me, make me very mad. And so today, instead of hopping on Instagram and writing about my thoughts on a particular meme, I thought I would just bring it here and use this as something to be on fire about, to speak on. So the quote that I saw this morning was, when the right person comes along, you won't have to do anything because simply being you will be enough, which is a beautiful idea. And it feels really good. And this is what I see on Instagram particularly. I'm sure it's everywhere, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the channels. Maybe not LinkedIn. But these memes that are getting 20,000 likes, 100,000 likes, being reshared, a lot of times they make us feel really good, like this one. Like, oh, I don't need to do anything because the right person will see my brilliance, come along, take me away, and fuck that guy, and that guy, and that guy, and that guy, and that guy, that guy who didn't do that. And while it does serve a purpose, because everything, I think, to some extent can serve a really great purpose in some way. Like even someone who's sharing a message that to me might be really wounding or even toxic, someone out there needs that message at that exact time. So anytime I'm speaking about anything in particular that I don't think sits right in my body, I also 110% recognize somewhere, someplace out there, it is serving someone. So someone who might be on the verge of destroying their entire life because they just got their heart broken might read that and then not destroy their entire life. And so for that reason, super grateful that meme exists. But when you're past a certain point of something being helpful, such as turning to a certain coping mechanism, for a while it might be helpful, then after a certain while it's not helpful anymore. That's what I think these memes are like. A lot of these memes that are about the right person coming along and finding you, I think are damaging to a certain extent for people that are beyond that point. And we need to be able to see that. This is so fun seeing people hop on here. So for anyone that's just popping on, I'm talking about a meme that is... that says, when the right person comes along, you won't have to do anything. It'll be enough simply because it's you. Okay, so this meme is about the external world. So it's putting all the focus on they will do this, and this. Not you will continue to be triggered and do your healing and have to sit in the discomfort and have to ask of yourself, what is love asking me to do? Like, this is all around the other person, waiting for the other person, which of course, sit, wait, do your work, they will come. I do believe this. And at the same time, relationships, really good, healthy relationships are based off of sameness. Doesn't mean everything is the same. Opposites to attract, and I'll get to that in a minute. But really healthy relationships are built off of sameness. So maybe that means you both want kids. Like, that's a pretty big one. A lot of times people end up splitting and parting ways because they don't agree on this. you both have a certain sexual flavor the other person needs. John Wineland, one of my teachers, talks about this all the time, is that you need to know what flavor in sexuality you need in order to have a relationship. It doesn't mean you both have to be the same, like you both have to be into like kinky stuff, or you both have to be really soft and angelic. But it means that there is some sort of ingredient that you do overlap your circles on. So maybe you bring this angelic energy and they bring the devilish energy. And so you're overlapping in this way. So in one aspect, this is sameness. You both agree that this is important to you. I've been in relationships with people who had very different textures and styles than I did. And it constantly left almost like this, just this hunger, this desire. I was going to say almost like a hole, but it wasn't a hole. It was more of a hunger that was not being fulfilled. And sure, I can be this for myself, but also at the same time, I want my partner to be this for me too. Especially if it's someone that I'm committing fully into. And that's part of sovereignty, is knowing what you need and not punishing the other person you are choosing to be with if they are not that. Because you are choosing. It is not them. It is actually you who is responsible for either communicating what you want, what you need, revealing what you want, what you need, summoning it from them by becoming that thing too, instead of just waiting for them to become that. Or not being in that relationship. So that's maybe for another Facebook Live. But healthy relationships, the foundation is built off of sameness. We both want children. We both agree on, for some people, very important, politics. Not everybody. We both find spirituality and religion very, very important, or maybe we both find atheism very, very important, right? So there needs to be these foundational things. We both want to live in the same city. We both love Texas or New York or California. Really, of course, other people can have long-term relationships, but generally there's, especially from the feminine, there's a desire for closeness and intimacy. So with that said, the foundation of a relationship is built off of sameness, but the sensuality, sexuality, erotic friction, the desire, the passion, all of this is built from difference. So that's where polarity comes into play. It's opposite ends of the spectrum, and that's why I'm so passionate talking about the feminine and the masculine, is because it's the opposite ends of the spectrum. So while we have this energy going really good, maybe you're both in omega. So like there's an omega relationship where you're best friends and it feels really good. Well, typically best friends don't have the strongest erotic tension because they're on the same end of the pole. They're both in omega. And the same can happen if you're both in alpha. You're both like headstrong, you're both business builders, you're both kicking butt, maybe you have a business together. Super great, super on fire, passionate, driven. But again, whenever it's time to get into the sheets, you're both on the same pole. There's no distance that you have to cross to meet each other that creates anticipation. That is lacking. So to have sexual intimacy and friction, as Michaela Baum calls it, erotic friction, you want to be on opposite ends of the pole, difference. And that doesn't mean it can't be a same-sex relationship. You can create energetic difference. That's really what all of this is about, to be very clear. This is energetic difference. Someone on one end of the pole, alpha, another on the other end of the pole, omega. So that could mean someone's reaching out and then someone's receiving. Someone's leading, someone's a dom, someone's a sub, right? So it's just like the opposite ends. Someone has this sun energy, someone has this moon energy. Someone is doing all the moving and grooving and like demanding and like claiming, and someone is being claimed and revealing how that feels to them. So going back to this meme, when we say something like, the right person will just know simply for being you, this is true. This is true. I'm not saying this whole thing is bullshit. This is true, that they will see you, recognize you, love that, and want more of it. And if you are in a committed relationship based on the foundation, as I was referring to earlier, of sameness, as time goes on, you move in together. Maybe you have a kid. Maybe you got the foundation of figuring out bills and who takes care of what. And life goes on and you're moving and grooving and you get into routine and maybe you start becoming each other and you adopt each other's habits. And you get into this really consistent sameness. at some point, I've never seen a relationship in my entire life where that sameness didn't become almost unhealthy, or at least unhealthy in respect to creating erotic friction, because there's sameness, there's no difference. So that means when you take a trip, you might realize, oh, I really miss him. That's because there's now distance physically. So if you take a trip from your lover of 5 years and then you realize, oh, I haven't missed him so much like this before, probably because of this physical difference. And then we want to learn how to get home and create the same paradigm, the same feeling of distance. And that takes discipline. So that means maybe setting up some structure. Great, yay. Setting up some structure around not being in contact all the time. Or maybe your masculine partner needs to go out into the woods somewhere, go on a men's retreat. The feminine partner, the feminine pole, doesn't mean woman, but the feminine pole person goes on a woman's retreat and does witchy rituals and is surrounded by soul sisters and learns how to move her body again and be in pleasure and does something good for herself when she's caretaking her children. Even if this is, this example is about a 5-year relationship, 10-year relationship, long term. This also happens on the short term though. And in my work with my teachers, John and Kendra, I've learned how important it is for me, myself and I as the feminine, to bring different flavors of me. Yes, it captivates my lover, whoever that may be. Yes, it may captivate the world, but beyond all of that, it brings me different flavors of me that I would not be summoning if I wasn't being challenged to. Now, for example, so many people are waiting for the world to tell them to step into this particular energy, give them permission, guide them there, or even waiting for pleasure to be brought, right? So waiting for a moment that feels really good, that your partner makes you feel really good, or a moment where someone guides you into a yoga class and then you're going to experience that rather than seeking it out, right? Or maybe when we're talking more about the realm that I've been working in, the archetypal realm, so like your queen or your sorceress or your like little schoolgirl, like all these different flavors of you, we often don't unpack those and explore those because the world isn't asking us to. It's not like someone's coming up to me and being like, put pigtails in your hair and dance around like a child, or wear all black today, be adorned in gold and go outside and be a witch. Like no one is telling me to do these things, so I have to be doing them for my own benefit because of what they do within my body. And with that said, that is on the other side, the polar opposite of stillness, which is what the masculine is. The masculine is consciousness, stillness. It's like again, a lot of these things are from my teachers and what I've learned from them. So I'll just like put that out, just to like spread that out like butter on bread. It's like the forest, right? Like a really solid redwood forest, thick, grounded, rooted. And the opposite of that is like a tsunami and a hurricane and the ocean and a river and then a jungle, all of those flavors. And so when we meet someone, it's not just about who you are at your core and your essence, because who you are at your core and your essence, actually, that's the masculine. That's consciousness, that's stillness, that's the part of you, again, as John says, that has never changed. There's a part of each person that has never changed. It's always been the same. That same part of you, whenever your physical body dies, is going to go back up wherever it goes into the ether, and it's going to join the other collective souls, the other parts of everyone else that has never changed, and then maybe you'll come back down into a new physical body. But that part of you that has never changed, a lot of that is your consciousnness and your masculine, which means, particularly to my feminine pole holders who are listening to this, there is a certain level of energy you want to begin to train your nervous system to bring. Because we live in a primarily masculine society. Yes, it's chaotic and kind of crazy at times, which is the feminine, but we live in a very like structured society. And we also were brought up with rules about what is acceptable and what is not. And that's where shadow work comes into play, of going into those shadows that we have. And because when I'm tying in what I was saying earlier about we have to seek out opportunities, or we have to choose to bring more of the archetypes in our life. Like as a feminine holder, you have to choose to feel more pleasure in your body because you live in this world that doesn't teach you how to do that. You have to choose how to laugh really loudly and like be bold like you used to as a kid because society told you not to. You have to relearn how to do that. You have to learn how to be seen in your tears and crying and revealing your heart because society told you not to do that. Like you have to relearn all of these things. Going back to the meme, yes, the right person, which there is no like I promise you at some point the right person's going to feel like the wrong person. Like without a doubt. So I even that part. Bleh. So the person that you could build a life together will see you and recognize you for your brilliance. And the arc of the feminine and the different flavors that we bring not only draw us in deeper as feminine creatures to ourselves, but also will probably attract the more conscious person that we want, the more masculine counterpart we're searching for. So if you go by that meme, the right person could be a lot of people and they might not be that conscious. Because if I just arrived simply as me, like what is simply me? Like what is me? If we're looking at me 2 years ago, actually, and the people that, like the meme says, simply saw me for who I was and were drawn in, those aren't the people that I want to end up with because I wasn't doing my work. So I was attracting like an energetic match because I wasn't revealing my queen, sorceress, sexy little minx, seductress, librarian, like all the versions. I wasn't revealing any of that. I didn't know where that was. I was just like the identity that my ego had created through years of childhood programming and college and school. And like, this is me. This is me. I am the business builder. I am an alpha woman, like all of my ideas. And so I was attracting a counterpart who actually, I was so in my masculine, I was attracting a lot of more primarily feminine men. And then I would basically resent them and punish them for not being more of an alpha. And even though I was not letting them have that pull, I was still resenting them. So if someone's not doing their work in their life, and maybe that's them unconsciously, you might see the same pattern happening. You might see yourself continuously drawing in people who are also not doing their work or not giving you what it is that your heart deeply craves because you haven't learned how to reveal that. Yeah. So while these memes may make us feel short-term bursts of joy and happiness, I think the damage in the long run is actually very detrimental because these memes pop up all the time. And people are sharing them and loving them and liking them and giving themselves permission to put the focus externally rather than internally and looking at what they are doing. Looking at how they might not be showing up in their fullest masculine or feminine or revealing what it is that they want. Yes, the person you end up, not the right person, because again, at some point this will be the wrong person, but the person that you want to be drawing in is going to see you for your unique brilliance. They are going to probably light up by it, but in order for the relationship to go deeper, you must be doing your work to go deeper. It's not just who you were born as, because who you may relate to right now, depending on how much work you have done and looking into your life, might actually be the result of that childhood programming. And who you want, don't just wait around for this person to show up. Go do that work to unpack these different archetypes within yourself, do shadow work. Then you will probably start to bring in that match and see the patterns that you've had. Because without that, the right person that we're bringing in might keep us in that feedback loop. Yeah, it's really true. Might keep you in that very exact feedback loop of, yay, they recognize me. This feels good. Oh, he's not doing what I want him to do, so I resent him for it, and I have no idea how to reveal that, so I'm just going to keep on being quiet about it, maybe being passive-aggressive. And this always happens to me. Why does this, I always bring in guys like this always happens to me, I hate that this happens to me, well, we'll never, break up, read another freaking meme that says the right person will come along. Like, that's what that cycle looks like. Unless you choose to distance yourself, be able to read those things, sure, but not fall into them, right? Yeah, that feels really good. Oh, let's see, what did, I saw a comment here. Oh, whoa, did I just change my positioning? Okay, all right, this is when Madelyn doesn't know what's going on with her, okay, technology. Oh my God. Y'all, is it twisted for y'all too? I'm sorry about this. Let's see if I can get it. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I rotated my phone. Okay, this is really annoying. I don't know if it's rotated for y'all though. Let me take it out of this thing. Oh my dear Lord. Y'all, okay. This is my cue to end this. Okay. I hope y'all all enjoyed this. It's really annoying that this is doing this. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad y'all enjoyed this. Maybe it's only on my end that it's doing this. I don't know. Okay. All right. I will hop on tomorrow. Bye, y'all.